An unusual show of unity from various political parties aimed at putting the lives of South Africans first. Political parties rallied their support behind government and supported the nationwide lockdown.
The National Coronavirus Command Council has decided to enforce a nationwide lockdown for 21 days with effect from midnight on Thursday, the 26th of March. This is a decisive measure to save lives of South Africans from infection and save the lives of hundreds of thousands of our people.
As a greater sign of solidarity, many pledged money to the Solidarity Fund and participated in food distribution efforts. But as the number of COVID cases rose, the impact on the economy was devastating. On the 1st of May, based on scientific evidence, the country moved to lockdown level 4. This allowed for certain industries to open up, but the cracks started to show. Political parties like the DA were highly critical of government and subsequently called for an end to what they labelled as the ANC lockdown. The official opposition joined the FF Plus in taking government to court over the constitutionality of the lockdown.
After our pledge for direct access to the Concourt was not acceded to, we've announced that we are not going to drop the fight. We're going to take the fight against the Disaster Management Act all the way to the Constitutional Court, even if we've got to go the longer route now and wind through the High Courts. Cases already lodged against the unconstitutionality of the Disaster Management Act that gives national government wide powers without the commensurate oversight and accountability that should be required, and empowers government to keep us in a state of national disaster.
The third biggest opposition also criticized government, but for completely different reasons. The party remains opposed to the easing of the lockdown. They have since withdrawn their participation from further consultations with the president.
When it started, it was a good thing. We were all at one. We had a first meeting. All the things we said in those meetings were implemented. But that was to the exclusion of white capital. And then the capital moved in and started disregarding the unity of political parties and the unity of cabinet and the unity of people of South Africa, who were very supportive of the initiatives.
But has the country been successful in trying to mitigate the impact of the coronavirus? And why are there now dissenting views amongst political parties?
The opposition parties, especially the DA, were supportive because they realized the severity of the coronavirus, COVID-19. I think since then, they have positioned themselves to exploit the weaknesses in government's response and are trying to build up their credibility, their profile as an opposition party, because President Ramaphosa's reputation is soaring, and they feel that they can't be seen to be too close to him. They've got to see themselves as a separate voice with different options to give voters a different set of choices.
Of course, questions will need to be asked as to whether South Africa has been successful or not in the last 100 days. And I think the results are quite mixed ones, in the sense that in the first place, you find that there's been quite agreement at the beginning among political parties, but in the middle of a lockdown, political parties began to pull apart where there's not been that much of agreement. You find some opposition parties, the DA, for example, official opposition, taking government to court, questioning some of the lockdown rules and regulations. So it has been quite a very tough lockdown indeed so far, and the virus continues to spread.
As many sectors of the economy like restaurants, personal care services and hotels are now open, the country finds itself with rising infections. President Cyril Ramaphosa has urged South Africans to not panic because of the rising numbers of coronavirus infections in the country. But he's also placed the ball in our courts, imploring citizens to take precautionary measures. Please do remember to wash or sanitize your hands at all times, wear a mask and keep your distance. Natasha Phiri, SABC News, Johannesburg.